little weird, but okay. Super Danger Studios, we love gain.
The warranty on your car is running out soon, and you're using too much distortion. To remove the gain on your pedal, press 1 now. To remove the distortion from...
Ha! I wonder if I'm using too much gain. I fear things deeply, in case you can't tell. And that's the reason why I use too much gain. But it really is. I use too much gain. Something spoke to me recently. There's a lot of videos about, you're using too much gain, it's not as effective, doesn't sound as heavy. We're missing the point of why we're using too much gain. We're using too much gain because we're afraid of hearing what it sounds like when we play a note. At least I am. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of hearing what a bad note sounds like. Because gain's there to cover it up. Overdrive's there to make it sound good. It's there to add the tone that I don't have in my hands. It's pathetic. It's beneath me. Yeah. I need to go through an exploration of using the lowest gain possible so that I can stop hiding behind my pedals and start, really being a player. If I want to consider myself a musician, and I want to consider myself a guitarist, a performance guitarist, not just some guy who sits in his studio making videos, but a guy that plays guitar, I need to be able to play with very low gain well. I can't use a pedal to hide behind it, right? And I do that a lot. I do it all the time. I've been doing it actually, I think, my whole guitar career. As soon as I found, wait a second, you can turn up the gain, I don't think I've ever turned it down. So what, that's almost 30 years of playing with lots of gain? Far too long. So my goal is to use the least amount of gain as possible with these pedals, and particularly the Steel Singer from Newx. Now, that's a good clean sound, right? That's just the iridium and the flint, and... But something changes when I throw on an overdrive, right? I'm playing differently. Obviously I'm playing differently, but when I hear that sustain and that increased gain, I play sloppier, right? Because of that sustain, because of the compression that's on any overdrive pedal, I start to play worse. And I'm not trying to play cleanly. I'm not trying to play well because I'm afraid I know that if I focus on that, I won't be able to play sweet riffs, right? That's the problem. We have these cool pedals. There's so many good pedals now. The Steel Singer is like $50, all the way up to, my Universal Audio and the Origin Effects pedals, which are upwards of $300, sometimes $400. It doesn't matter the cost because I still play like a moron when I turn these things on. I'm like, oh, listen to those sweet tones. And that's not wrong. The tones are there. The tones are good. I like good tone. But I'm not playing better when I'm playing like that. and it's really frustrating. I just realized that. I'm like, holy cow, I've been hiding behind these awesome tones and I haven't been improving my musicianship, my playing ability. So let's turn down the gain. See, now we're starting to hear some of that pick attack. I mean, it's obvious. If you play guitar, it's like, yeah, duh, Alex. Like, you turn down the gain, you can hear more attack. But it does a different thing when you can hear your attack. You can start to... You start to hear how you're picking. It's gain at the bottom. See, I'm already playing differently. I missed all those notes. Let's even turn down the volume just a bit on my guitar. And now I'm playing like I was playing when I was playing through it cleanly, right? And I think that's the... And I think that's important. And it's really important. I think that's like probably the most important thing. Playing cleanly and playing legibly and thinking about what you're playing. Yeah. Now, why is that? I mean, like turning up the gain, I'm like, let's let it rip. That's like my brain goes, go for it. Just play something crazy. And now I have this gain at 0. It's more percussive, it's more direct, right? It'd be like when you're playing like direct into your like DAW or into like a PA, right? It's a very different experience. You become much more aware of how you're pressing the string down, right? Like where you are on the fret. Your vibrato becomes instantly apparent. Like the tone in your fingers is like you can't get away from it. Try it right now. You're watching me. I bet you there's a guitar within arm's reach. Plug in, turn your gain pedal all the way down. It just makes you play different. I can't describe it, but man, I got a bunch of shows coming up. Actually, I'm playing with my buddy Bobby Watson. I think I'm gonna have all my gain pedals set to like 0. Because here's a cool thing about having all your pedals set to 0. For stacking, it's perfect. Here's a special cranker from Earthquaker Devices. This is kind of like simulating like an overblown speaker or like a tube preamp. It's pretty dirty. Still hear some of that grit. But it's not dominating my playing, right? And now we put the steel singer after that. Yeah, dude. Like, they're all at 0. I mean, the gain is at 0 on both of those. This is the Formula 5F6 from Caitlin Bread. It simulates a tweed bassman sound. Lots of low end on that pedal, which is great for filling out, top, mid, heavy pedals. And it's got a lot of gain too, right? The more you dive into any discipline, the more you learn about actually who you are in conjunction with this, right? This has been told a million times, from like Musashi to like The Hobbit, where it's like the journey is how you find out about yourself, right? Like, yes, you're going to find the treasure at the end of the dungeon. At the same time, though, you're finding out about who you are as a person, right? The things that you're afraid of, the things that you don't want to go towards, the things that motivate you too. For a long time, I wanted to be like the most exciting guitarist, the most interesting guitarist. Like, wow, he plays such cool, interesting things. And now I'm settling for like, he's pretty good. Like, I'm happy if someone says like, hey, he's a pretty good guitarist. That'd be a really nice compliment to have. This video isn't saying gain is bad. I love gain. Don't get me wrong. I love to let it rip. But be aware of what it does to your playing, right? I was not aware of how much it was changing, like the style I was playing, my right hand. I mean, just my approach to the guitar was different because of the pedal being on and there being a lot of gain. When you have a lot of gain, it's gonna hide your pick attack. It's gonna make you play a certain way, so be aware. A lot of times people are like, well, practice clean, practice without being plugged in. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Or maybe you should just use less gain. It's like, can't you get that same effect without that much gain? You never go into the field with gear that's untested. And just like that, you don't practice with the tone you're not gonna be using on stage. Like, you cannot practice cleanly on your guitar and then have that same kind of mentality transfer to when you're on stage with a monitor or you're in the studio with cans on, right? Like, that's not gonna happen. You have to practice with the tone that you're gonna be using. I don't think you should practice without gain on, because that's not your tone. Your tone is that, right? You should probably use less gain. You shouldn't just practice cleanly. It's like, maybe it'll help your fingering technique, but it's like, it's not gonna help you like think about your tone. You're not gonna be practicing with the weapon that you're out there when you're in the field, right? It's so easy for my brain to hide it from me. This is making you play like a rock star. I'm like, great, thanks. But it's not true. This is making you play sloppier. It's not the pedal's fault. It's your fault. My fault, right? Like, the pedal didn't do that, but the effect it's having on your brain and your hand, you're playing worse now. Like, you gotta stop that. You can't keep doing that. Okay, I gotta think about this now. Every time I buy a pedal, I gotta also figure out, is it making me play worse? Because it might. A lot of these pedals, if I turn them up a little bit, boy, I'm gonna start playing sloppy. Now, sometimes the song calls for sloppy, right? But accidentally sloppy is not something I should be shooting for. If I'm going for an artistic choice to play sloppily, right on. There are a lot of guitarists that were like technically sloppy, but their taste and their choices were so good, it didn't matter that they were sloppy. And I hate saying this. People go, Jimmy Page, sloppy guitarist. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Like, he's like one of the best, so it's like, why would I even say he's sloppy? It's such a stupid thing to say. It's like, no, he's so good. He wrote some of the best riffs of all time. Like, sloppy, like, yeah, there's hours and hours of him recorded. Like, I'm sure he's missed some notes here and there. Maybe he was like getting after it, or like, who knows, maybe it was 3 a.m, they were drinking all night, and then he records a solo. It was sloppy. I'm like, yeah, kind of, but he wrote the best songs of all time, so it's like, what does that even mean? Like, why would I even say he's sloppy? The reason I don't like us saying those things, because like the takeaway is different. I can be sloppy if I'm Hendrix. I'm like, well, yeah, but come on, like, let's not be stupid here. They're legends. They're like they're the highest you could possibly be in the rock guitar world. Like, why are we even trying to say like, but they played sloppy? I'm like, yeah, it's like, so what? But that's not what made them famous. They weren't famous because they were sloppy. They were the reason they're at the top. It's because they wrote some of the best riffs and songs of all time. We shouldn't take that as an excuse. Like, unless you're the best. Like, are people paying you for your music right now? Are they putting you on the front of posters? Are you headlining arenas? No. So keep practicing. I'm also saying this to me, okay? So don't take this personally, right? But you probably need to hear it. I need to hear this too. Stop making excuses for your sloppy playing, okay? Turn the gain down. It still sounds good. So why do you need all that gain? Like, you can certainly do it with less. And if it's gonna make you a better player, then definitely do it. I need to chill with the gain. I need to pay more attention to what I'm playing and why. We are not Hendrix. We are not Page. We're not legends. And we won't be. That's okay. We don't have to be. Those roles have been filled. Now that the pressure's off of us to become legendary, the pressure's on us to play well.